We are at the gravesite of John Bostwick. The tombstone reads, "In memory of Colonel John Bostwick, born Great Barrington, Massachusetts, February 24th, 1780, died September 9th, 1849. Also, Polly, his wife, born New Brunswick, May 31st, 1786, and died June 13th, 1826. John Bostwick, second oldest son of the Reverend Gideon Bostwick of Great Barrington. In March 1793, Governor Simcoe granted the township of Oxford-on-the-Thames in Upper Canada to a group of associates from Great Barrington for whom the Reverend Gideon Bostwick was the spiritual leader. When making the grant, the governor and his council indicated that it was their opinion that Reverend Bostwick comes precisely under the description of persons who ought to be encouraged to settle in this province, and not doubting but that he will have due regard to the principles and morals of the proposed inhabitants in his neighborhood, grant the aforesaid petition for one township." Unfortunately, as preparations were underway to begin the move to Upper Canada, the Reverend Gideon Bostwick died suddenly at the age of 50 years, leaving his 9 children as orphans. The plan to move to Oxford-on-the-Thames was continued under the leadership of Thomas Ingersoll, who was a member of Reverend Bostwick's congregation. Between 1795 and 1797, Ingersoll assigned land in the township to 40 families from Great Barrington and elsewhere, but then had his authority to make further grants taken away by the government. So by the time the Bostwick children were ready to move to Upper Canada, they were no longer able to go to Oxford, but they were welcomed into the Long Point settlement. Soon afterwards, John Bostwick married a daughter of Colonel Joseph Ryerson of Long Point, and soon after that, John Bostwick began practicing as a land surveyor and was appointed sheriff for the district. As a surveyor, he laid out the first portion of the road through the region, which became known as the Talbot Road. He held officer rank in the local militia during the War of 1812, and after the war settled here at Port Stanley. This is a portrait of John Bostwick. This plaque reads, "Lieutenant Colonel John Bostwick, 1780 to 1849. Born in Massachusetts, Bostwick came as a child to Norfolk County. He was appointed High Constable of the London District in 1800 and Sheriff in 1805. A deputy surveyor, he laid out some of the earliest roads in the Talbot settlement, and in 1804 was granted 600 acres here at the mouth of Kettle Creek. After serving as a militia officer throughout the War of 1812, he settled on the site of Port Stanley and founded this community. Bostwick represented Middlesex in the Legislative Assembly to 1821 to 1824. He donated the land for this church, which was completed in 1845, and is buried in its churchyard.
So, what's the name of this church?
This is Christ Church. This is Gideon Bostwick's church in Great Barrington, also called Christ Church.